Well, thank you very much, Your Excellency. That was very inspiring. This is not the first time you're giving a speech.
Certainly not.
So I was thinking about talking around your leadership, positioning Rwanda as one of the spearheading nations in East Africa, in Africa, and possibly in the globe. If we talk about the usage gap, the connectivity that still needs to be done, I know that Rwanda is the first in East African, is regarded as the first in East African community on network readiness and fifth in Africa. Good 4G LTE coverage. We have 3 major broadband pipes in Rwanda. If you could take us through what are the key learnings in achieving that? That would sort of be the coverage gap a bit.
Well, first of all, we have to think of investing in a number of things. One is the human capital has to be developed. We have to invest in digital infrastructure and connectivity as well, and make a deliberate effort to forge even these partnerships that will actually bridge that usage gap, because as earlier said by somebody, none in the private sector or in public sector or any country has all that is required to cover this. So the partnerships have to be deliberate, and then we have to go to the very people, and again, the 2 young previous speakers mentioned this. How do you draw in deliberately the very people, give them the skills, the literacy that is required, and also around that there will be a purpose for them to really be attracted to what you are doing with them. So the message has to be constant, has to be clear, and that is how we have been going about it, and again with the wider partnerships, as I mentioned.
So partnerships is clearly, and I think our previous speaker spoke also around the public-private partnership, how important that is. And I guess, now I'm asking you a question again around the usage gap, I guess that's one of the key activities that we should address when trying to bridge the usage gap. Would that be fair?
That would be, I mean, that is the meaning of it. That's how it happens. That's what we have to address. Otherwise, if you don't address it that way, you may make good investments, but that will not translate into solutions for the millions or billions of people who have to utilize this to improve their lives and transform their lives.
And I think I tried to explain the enablement effect, that mobile connectivity is just enabling other businesses to thrive, and I think you described that, and I think that's why the public-private partnership is equally important, because it affects the whole of society. It affects me as a person, it affects my business. So it is really a positive cycle that we can start to see emerge.
It really creates the whole ecosystem that is required for the transformation of society and for people to thrive. One thing leads to another, and once you have touched the different aspects of this problem, then you start beginning to see people interested, people getting to use the digital tools that are before them.
And if I may ask, where do you see the next steps? Imagine us being now at 2025, 600 million people are connected in Africa. 2027 might be 700 million, etc. What is more required now to make that happen?
You know, we have to, as you see across the continent, you see that the leaders, the political leaders of countries, the companies are saying about the same thing that is right to say. What follows and should follow is now to do the right thing, connecting with saying the right thing. And you see across Africa the efforts being applied. The message has to be accompanied with real actions that people have to see take place, and therefore be able to see the results that they can also be measured. I see that people across Africa and beyond are beginning to understand that it's not enough to just have the digital infrastructure. As we have learned that just last year alone, about 1 billion people lived in proximity to a broadband network, but were actually not using the internet. So the message has to be that of linking up things in a logical manner that gives you the results you want. You make investments in infrastructure, and you, like we are trying to do in our country here, I'm sure other countries are doing it or even better, train people, give them the digital literacy that is required so that they are able to now utilize the digital infrastructure that has been invested in, and then stop that phenomenon where so many are living near the infrastructure but are not making good use of it. So there has to be always a message of trying to link up things so that they work to the benefit of our society.
No, it makes a lot of sense what Your Excellency is saying, making sure that we take action of our words to make it actually happen. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for hosting us here. Thank you so much for inviting us to beautiful Kigali, and I hope that we will have the opportunity to come back many more times.
Anytime, you're all welcome.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say, don't be compelled to go back home immediately after the conference. You can stay for as long as you wish after that.
All right, thank you.